From 34-48 last season to one of the best teams in the NBA. And the best team in the NBA since February 1st with a record of 23-2. Should Mitch Johnson be Coach of the Year? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports, TGIF. And as the season is winding down, a lot of you saying TSR, Mitch should be Coach of the Year, and well, of course, I agree. Granted, I'm a little biased being a Spurs fan, but I agree. However, I don't know the main competition that he's facing out there, so let's find out together. I'm going to be doing an article from Fadeaway World that lists the top 10 contenders for the Coach of the Year award. This is going to be a live reaction. I do know number 10 because it's right there, but I don't know number 1 through 9. No doubt in my mind that Mitch should be in the top 3, maybe even number 1. Pistons coach J.B. Bickerstaff, Thunder coach Mark Daigneault, I'm sure will be in the running. However, both are coaching incredible teams, and the Thunder are the defending NBA champions with the MVP. So there is that. Hawks coach Quinn Snyder popped in my mind because they're exceeding expectations. Far, unfortunately for Spurs fans, because we have the pick swap with them, especially after the Trae Young trade, so he'll probably be on this list. That's all I got. I don't know what else to expect here. So let's do the live reaction. First up, we do have Charles Lee of the Hornets. Man, have the Hornets just done an incredible turnaround. They're actually 37-34 at the time of this article, which was a couple of days ago. Good for them. They're an exciting young team. Colin Knueppel is front runner for Rookie of the Year, is he not? All right, number 9. Oh, these are long. Maybe I'll just read the one on Mitch. I didn't realize this was this long. Okay. Darjo Rajovic for the Raptors. Okay. Fair enough. 30-52 last year, 40-31 this year. Big jumps. Not as big as our jump, though. Number 8. This is really long. All right, there's Quinn Snyder from the Hawks. Well-deserved. 40-32. 6th in the Eastern Conference, and Spurs fans will pause right here. If the Hawks make the playoffs, which it looks like they will, they're 6th right now, that means that the Spurs will not have a chance at a lottery pick this year, as we always are not going to be a lottery team, and the Hawks will not be in the lottery either if they finish in the top 6 in the Eastern Conference. So keep an eye on that for the rest of the season. If they fall down to 7, they fall in the play-in, and then we'll go from there. All right, speaking of 7, Ime Udoka for the Rockets. Rockets aren't they kind of sucking right now? I don't know how else to word it. Haven't they been playing pretty bad lately? Didn't they just blow an overtime game too? I think I saw something. They were up by 10 or 12 points, and it's one of the biggest, if not biggest, blown overtime leads ever. All right. Still no Mitch yet, and we shouldn't see Mitch for a long time. Kenny Atkinson of the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right. Fair. Moving right along. Top 5. J.J. Redick of the Lakers. I mean, it is hard to succeed when you have one of the best players in the NBA and a Hall of Famer. No, I'm just kidding, because same thing we said about the Spurs. Hey, kudos to them. I did not think they'd be good this year. Not this good, at least. I think their lack of defense is still going to be exposed in the playoffs, and they're going to get knocked out in the first or second round, but they are exceeding expectations at the moment. So, good for them. Top 4. All right, no Mitch yet. Joe Mazzulla from the Celtics. It wouldn't shock me if they finish in first place. Aren't they just slightly behind the Pistons? At least at the time of this article. They may have already passed them. I don't know. I thought they'd be significantly worse than this with all the players they traded away. Drew Holiday, KP, Jason Tatum missed most of the season. I was like, all right, they're not rebuilding, but they're reloading. Heck with that. They might be in the NBA Finals this year. So, yeah, I can understand why he's in the running. Top 3. And you know what? We haven't seen J.B. Bickerstaff or Mark Daigneault yet. Or Mitch. Are those going to be the top 3? There's Mark Daigneault of the Thunder. Not a shocker. Best team in the Western Conference. Defending NBA champions are obviously the favorite to win it again at the moment. Spurs are trying to say hold my beer on that. But okay, this was totally expected. So 1 and 2 have got to be either Mitch Johnson or J.B. Bickerstaff. I got to think that's the top 2. Where's Mitch? Is he number 1? No! He's not. All right. That's what they have to say. Mitch Johnson is number 2. Currently, they're not 54-18. I believe they're 55-18 now? 55-18. Mitch Johnson has a real case to win this award, and if they were judged only on the size of the leap, he might already be first. The Spurs are 54-18, locked into the top tier of the West, and already ended their playoff drought by clinching their first postseason berth since 2019. That alone is a major coaching achievement. I agree. This is not a team expected to jump this quickly from promising to dangerous. Now it looks like a real contender, and Johnson deserves a huge share of the credit for that shift. It also was rewarded early in the season with the West All-Star coaching spot, which showed how strong the case already was months ago. The strongest part of Johnson's argument, a little too far there, my apologies. The strongest part of Johnson's argument is that it has not looked like a one-man carry job. Victor Wembanyama is the franchise pillar, obviously, but the Spurs have looked deep, organized, and consistently connected. After Monday's win over the Heat, the Spurs are now 23-2 since February 1st and have won 7 straight. That is not just talent showing up, that is a team with real structure, clear roles, and nightly discipline. The recent stretch has also included contributions from all over the rotation, which says a lot about how well Johnson has managed the group. Okay? Last part. He sits at number 2, but only because the team above him has the cleaner turnaround narrative in the other conference. But on pure coaching impact, Mitch has done enough to make this race very close. Taking the Spurs from rising team to 55-win contender is not a normal second-tier success story. It's one of the biggest coaching statements of the season. They made all the cases there why Mitch should be number 1. I guess we're going to have to read JB Bickerstaff, guys, because what is the case for the Pistons coach? They were, what was their record last year? Were they like 45-win team or 48-win team? I can't remember. It was mid to upper 40s. So this was a playoff team last year. Or it's right there, right next to me, 44-38. All right, what do they have to say about JB Bickerstaff, guys? Because I'm curious and you're probably curious as well. JB Bickerstaff should be number 1 because this is still the strongest coach of the year case in the league. The Pistons were 44-38 and 6th in the East last season. Now they are 52-19. They may have lost the game since then. Obviously, his record is a little out of date, a few days old, and without Cade Cunningham, that might get worse. We'll see. First in the conference and just beat the Lakers for their 4th straight win even without Cade Cunningham. This is not a normal year-over-year step. That is a real jump into the top tier of the league. Okay. The strongest part of Bickerstaff's case is that the rise has held up under pressure. This is already one of the best stories in basketball before Cunningham's collapsed lung. Since then, the Pistons have kept winning anyway. Let me get this ad off here a little bit. They reached 50 wins for the first time since 7-8 in the blowout of the Wizards, and they followed that by staying on top of the East and pushing to 52 wins with the Lakers' victory. When a team keeps its level after losing its star late in the season, that reflects coaching as much as anything else. All right, I'm going to stop here for a second. We lost Wemby in November and December, and the Spurs went 9-3. You're basically, I know it's earlier in the season, but Mitch also was able to, and the team, win games without their main guy. Actually, multiple guys. Wemby's been out. Castle missed some time. Fox missed the start of the season. I don't know the Pistons injury history for this season. Maybe you guys can enlighten me. Have they dealt with more injuries this year, or have they been relatively healthy until Cade Cunningham went down? Because we've had guys in and out of lineup all year. The big ones, of course, Wemby missing that time, Castle missing time, and then Fox missing time at the start of the season. So right now, to me at least, it seems like a wash with injured players being out. The Spurs won with Victor Wembanyama. There's also a clean narrative edge here that the other top candidates do not fully have. Mark Daigneault has the best record in the league, but the Thunder were already champions. Mitch Johnson has done elite work with the Spurs, but Bickerstaff's turnaround is easier to sell because it came out of conference the Pistons now lead after spending years outside the real contender tier. Coach of the year often goes to the coach who changes the league's understanding of his team. No one has done this more clearly this season than Bickerstaff. I disagree with that. Props to him. This is a playoff team last year. Nobody is surprised by them still being good in the East. I'm not. First in the East, all right, maybe a little surprised there, but they were a playoff team. A lot of folks had the Spurs finishing 8th, 9th, 10th, and now they're going to finish at worst 2nd with a legit shot at maybe being number 1 if the Thunder lose some games. I'm biased on this, so it's hard not to, obviously favor Mitch Johnson, and I don't know the history of the Pistons season. My vote would go to Mitch Johnson, mostly because of the turnaround, and if you're using the injury as a crutch for Coach of the Year for Mark Daigneault, then you also have to use that for Mitch Johnson, as we've had injuries too. Wemby missed with the 12 games, and the Spurs went 9-3. Yeah, the Spurs have dealt with injuries too. You could say, well, they're a deep team. Okay. Oh, is that a penalty on the coach? You still got to put the right people on the floor at the right time. You're a deep team. Sure, you just can't be throwing rando guys out there and hoping to win. You still have to have the proper rotations, proper timeouts. Blah, 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 blah. So Mitch Johnson meets Coach of the Year. Fadeaway seems like they're giving it to Mark Daigneault. The question is, who do you think should win Coach of the Year? Spurs fans, or if there's Pistons fans stopping in, or Thunder fans, etc., who do you got winning it? Very curious. Drop a comment down below. I will be live tomorrow with Miss TSR, 3 p.m. Eastern, an early Saturday game. Okay, whatever. Spurs versus Bucks, and the Spurs looking for win number 56. And correct me if I'm wrong, there'll be an 8-game winning streak. Can they win out the rest of the year? If the Spurs win out the rest of the year, forget it. It's over. Coach of the year. So maybe they're just going to have to win everything and not lose another game until next season. How's that sound? I don't know. I'm getting a little silly here. Hit the thumbs up if you like support the channel, enjoyed the video, subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs community. I'll see you tomorrow for the Spurs versus Bucks. Thank you, and always, go Spurs go.